For more than 20 years, CTV has captured the moments that matter in our community. From our studios in St. Clair, you're watching Focus with Paul Dingeman.
Well, the month of July has started and we are glad you are along. We've got some important information for you on this Focus program, and we will throughout the month of July. Next week we've got a preview of the offshore races coming up at the end of the month, and so lots of activity. Please come back and stay tuned. Today there's a new display at St. Clair Art Association's offices and studios in the Riverview Plaza, and joining us are the two artists. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
We have Sharon Will, nice to meet you, and Vianna, I got it, Vianna Sobel.
Vianna Sabo.
Sabo. Well,
Yeah.
I'm close.
Close, yes.
No, we'll take close as good enough. I'd like to welcome you both. You're from relatively from the community. You're from Romeo and
Washington.
Washington.
So we literally live 2 miles from each other.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah,
Wonderful.
it is.
It's been great. Yeah.
Let's talk about what you're doing at the St. Clair Art Association's Alice Moore Center.
Well, we've got 94 paintings between the two of us.
94?
94, yeah. It's a lot of work,
Yeah.
covering a wide variety of mediums and subject matter. I work in pastel and oil. Vianna works pastel, oil, and watercolor. And so the 94 pieces on the wall, and we both have bins full of unframed work, so lots of choices.
Sharon, you got into it years ago. You were in the advertising business. I read in your bio here.
Yep.
What your love was art. Talk to me about that.
Well, actually, I think I got started into art kind of as a late bloomer, but I eventually got into the commercial art field and slowly taking painting lessons, and just got out of the commercial field and more into the fine arts. So that's kind of where I'm at today.
And your area of expertise is pastels
Pastel and oil.
and oil.
I started in pastel and switched to oil for a while, and actually learned to paint in oil, but now I go back and forth between the water-soluble oils and pastel.
Okay. How about your background?
For me, I pretty much have always painted and drawn my whole life, and it just so happens that when I moved to Romeo, Michigan, I was working and doing more commercial stuff. Never went to art school or anything, but when I moved to Romeo, there was an art studio there, and I had a colicky baby at home. So I went and I saw a gentleman named August Gloss who had a studio in Romeo, and I saw him do a pastel demo of a portrait on sandpaper. And when I watched that, I just thought that was what I was meant to do.
That's right.
So
That's
yeah,
good.
so I got, my mom bought me a full set of pastels.
Thank God for moms.
Thank God for moms. And started painting my beautiful son, and then got to know some of the local artists, and then actually met Sharon through some of the other artists. And we started plein air painting together. And plein air painting is where you go out into the landscape and just paint what's directly in front of you.
Oh.
And so we've just kind of built our friendship and have a lot of years of experience of working together. And so to have this show together is just really sweet.
Yeah,
Have you done other
special.
shows together before?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to think which ones they were, but I know, yes, we have shown together in the past.
Yeah.
And this particular show, as I said, is at the Alice Moore Art Center.
Yes.
And it's going to be for the whole month of July. It's underway now.
Yeah.
And do you know the hours of the Art Center?
Well,
Off the top of my head,
they're still putting that together, I guess,
Okay.
coming off of COVID, still
Yeah.
trying to find a staff. So they actually
Who
suggest...
isn't trying to find a staff?
Yeah.
The world is trying to find a
Yeah,
staff.
they suggest to actually call ahead just to
Good
confirm
idea.
their hours.
Good idea.
Right.
All right, so up on the screen is one of your paintings. That is, let me
Yes.
get the title here, or you can tell me. That's called Coming Home. And talk to me about that one.
Sure. So that one has a couple, has a lot of meaning to me. I actually did it as a demonstration for a Zoom class. I was teaching a landscape Zoom class, but the reference is from one of the towns in Cinque Terre, Italy. So I've taught painting over in Italy for 5 years, 5 different occasions over the years. And this was then like after the workshop had ended, and my friend and I are watching the sunset there in Cinque Terre.
Beautiful.
And so
and a
that's
great
what that one
backstory.
means. Yeah.
Next, you've got Frisian? No, that's the little boy. Go ahead.
But it's actually, so the title of this is actually called Frisson. And I was looking for a word that would express the gesture of this young man. And
You've really captured it.
yeah, so Frisson means that moment of both dread and excitement.
Right,
So
you can
it's,
see it.
Yeah, it's like the
In the
top.
back of his head, you can see it.
Yes, and those
Yeah.
shoulders. I actually have another one in the exhibition as well that is an oil, and it is vertical. So I like this image so much I painted it twice.
Oh, good.
So this is a pastel.
It's all about the vase. Oh, yes, look at that.
It's all about the vase.
Right, right.
This was
The
just.
colors are beautiful.
Thank you. This was a still life I set up in my studio. Generally, around the holidays, I tend to take a break from teaching and set up a still life and just have my own happy, quiet painting time. And this was one, and it's all about that vase.
The next one's Last Hurrah.
Yes.
Ooh, beautiful sky.
Thank you. This is, again, this was another demo that I did for a class, a landscape class I was teaching. And this is from Croswell, Michigan.
Okay, okay.
And standing on the, what is it, Be Nice to Your Mother-in-Law bridge. But there
I
was
did not
this-
know there was a bridge like that.
There's this bridge in Croswell with that name, and it's a suspension bridge. And but there was this glorious sunset. It was my birthday a couple years ago, and so I did a bunch of photography and then did this demo for my class the next day.
I get a real kick out of the fact that you go to Italy, and 5 times you've gone to Italy for teaching, and then you end up in Croswell.
Oh, yeah, you know.
You go everywhere.
You go everywhere, absolutely. Right now I'm in my basement with Zoom, so yeah.
And this is, talk about this guy.
So this was actually when I was teaching a workshop up in Frankfort, Michigan, and the model was the guy that was working there, the maintenance guy, and I didn't know that he was going to be my model. He ended up being wonderful, and
Yeah.
I gave him this book, and then I actually had the students photographing him and such. But I would tell him just like, when I call your name, look over.
Yeah.
So I call it pause because
Oh, okay.
I just literally said his name. He stopped, looked up, snapped the photo, and then did the painting from that.
The next one is the Pride of Belle Isle. Look at
Yes.
that on the Scott Fountain.
Yes.
And
I
I'm
forgot it was
familiar with
called that.
the Scott Fountain. And I had my grandson down there just a week or so ago and was explaining to him that was built like in 1920 or 1924 or 25.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful facility it is. A very beautiful fountain it is. And go
It
ahead.
is. It's a gorgeous one. I had to do, of course, a little word play there with Pride of Belle Isle.
Right.
But so here it was all about capturing that feeling of sunlight and that brilliant white fountain,
Yep.
which in the sunlight doesn't necessarily read as brilliant white.
No.
So yeah, a lot of yellow in it.
And the next one is Rainbow. Oh, is that right? No.
Rainbow white,
Rainbow white.
yes.
A lot of white there.
So I teach a lot of color theory. And so what's interesting is if you ask somebody, then let's say you do something like this, where you take a white object, put it onto a white table with a white backdrop, and ask them, what color would you paint this? Well, white. If you put white on the canvas, it's not going to show up.
No.
This is a pastel, actually. So here, started with the highlight. That's actually the lightest light, so that's almost the pure white. So then everything else is as compared to that. So it's finding all the colors that actually make up white, which reflects the color of the light and the color of the shadow.
It's amazing how you have to have that white as a balance.
Oh, yeah.
Before we started here, I had, and I'll bring it up because you brought it up. Well, maybe I won't. I had a whiteboard out.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
We balanced the cameras here to the whiteboard.
Yes.
So that the colors on all of our clothes from each one of the cameras is always the same.
Exactly.
Because it's,
And I saw the
so-
grayscale on the back.
Yeah.
We use that as well.
Yep,
Yeah.
For painting. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
yep,
All the inside baseball stories here.
yes, absolutely.
All right, now next, what is this one? This is yours, isn't it, Sharon?
This is mine,
Sharon.
yeah.
Talk to me, Sharon, about this is
This is Keweenaw
Keweenaw
Shore.
Shore,
Done,
on the Upper Peninsula.
This is up in the UP, and this was done plein air. Both we mentioned that before. We both work from life, plein air. It's a very important part for me because I'm a representational artist, and I'm really looking for those subtle nuances, you know, the color and the value. And I believe you can only get it studying nature. So nature's our best teacher. So this was from life and a challenge.
So the term you're using there, you just show up and start painting? Is that what happens?
Yep. I like the morning or afternoon light. Noon light tends to be a little bit flat because there's no shadows, so usually go morning or afternoon. And the challenge, you know, with a shoreline is you've got the moving waves, so
Yes.
you're looking for patterns, and it's a great way to study. I mean, I learned a lot painting that. So, and I grew up on off of Lake St. Clair, off of the canals. And anytime I can paint by water, I'm in my happy place.
Yep.
So in this show, I've included a lot of water scenes.
Good, good.
So this is one of them.
Well, the next one is White Tug. So
White Tug. This is a pastel, and I did this during a plein air competition. I participate in them, and they can be anywhere from 1 day to 5 days. This was one over by Saugatuck area. I think this was a 1 day plein air. So
it was making me think of up in Leelanau County.
Oh.
Along the Leelanau, there's a little river there with some tugs in it.
yes.
Same thing I
Yes.
thought of.
I love tugs. I've never met a tug I didn't like, so I can't resist not painting it. So I included that because I have several boats in the show that I've painted from the UP down to Alabama, the old shrimp boats. So
Spring on the Harbor, that's the next one.
this is a pastel. Oh, different one. Okay.
Is that the wrong? Okay.
You're right. Spring on the Harbor. This was up in, I worked from photographs on this one in Harbor Springs. And it's just an example of, I do use photography, but I'm really relying on what I learned from painting from life, you know, to really draw on that. Because the photo lies and distorts color and value. So.
Spring Sunrise is next. No, that's not. I've got a Fall Harvest. That's called Fall. Yeah,
That's
yes.
Fall Harvest. Yep, that was. I think Vi and I were painting out in the orchards. We have lots of orchards in Romeo, so
Yep.
we're always painting in them. Just kind of set up this still life right there, and worked from life on this one.
And then the one I mentioned, Spring. Oh yes, you can see the trees just starting to bud.
Spring Sunrise. This was also, I participated in a plein air competition a week long in North Carolina. And this was my view every morning when I woke up.
Oh, nice.
So it actually took me a year to think about this and mull it over in my head, how to pull it off. And so a year later, I painted that.
The next one's a Red Buggy. Oh, yes, we see that.
Mackinac Island.
Yes.
I included this because I have several pieces from Mackinac Island. You know, Mackinac Island, we always love it. It's pure Michigan, full of color and life, and just a fun place to go.
And finally, the Quiet Before the Dawn. Oh, look at that. Yes.
This was up in Traverse City. I was actually
Front Street. Is that the Park Place Hotel?
You know, I don't know. I don't.
On the left there. I think that's the Park Place.
It could be, yes. I participated in a week-long plein air event there, and I wanted to do a nocturne, and I was running out of nights, and so I got up at 4 in the morning to paint this, so I could get that night sky.
Yes,
And
it's a beautiful
naturally,
sky.
no cars, so it was very quiet.
And it is so quiet at 4:30
It was
or 5
wonderful,
o'clock
yeah.
in the morning. And
Yeah, no traffic, no cars
nobody
blocking
around.
my view. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's going to be a great show, and it goes on all month long at the St. Clair Art Association. I think we've thrown up both of your websites, or your websites on. People want further information, but
Yeah, please come.
anything else you'd like to add?
Did we mention the opening?
No.
Our opening is Saturday, July 10th,
Okay.
from 1 to 7.
Oh, okay.
Please come out, and we'd love to meet you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and that's nice, and everybody knows where the St. Clair Art Association's Alice Moore Center is, and they've done wonderful work over the years, and she was a phenomenal lady. She really was.
Wow.
So.
We're thrilled to be there.
Great.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for coming in and sharing all of your wonderful work. You're delightful people.
Thank
Thank you
We
so
enjoyed
much.
this.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
We're back with Deb Johnson from St. Clair County Community Mental Health in just a minute. July is a busy month for this lady, as every month in the year is busy for this lady. Deborah Johnson, welcome back to the Focus Set. Nice to see you and your pleasant smile.
It's great to be here, Paul. Great to be here.
You've got some things I need to know about, and I don't know anything about the B.B. Moore Campbell National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. And it's really tough to say.
It's a mouthful.
Yes.
Mental Health Awareness Month. Okay, so B.B. Moore Campbell was an American author, journalist, and really a teacher and a strong mental health advocate, because she recognized that there was health disparities, especially in the minority communities, and so she wanted to shed light on the mental health needs of minorities and the need to, create better access, improve services, things like that for minorities. So in 2008, our U.S. House of Representatives decided to recognize July as National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. You can only say it if you say it slow, because it's a lot of words.
It's a lot of words.
So again, it's to bring awareness to the struggles, and they are a little bit different because of cultural differences and things like that. So to bring awareness to underrepresented groups.
I like their logo, their slogan, "You are not alone."
That's right. So that's this year's theme, "You are not alone." And that's a great slogan really for anybody who is dealing with mental health issues, because oftentimes I think people think they are alone, struggling because maybe in their friend group they're the only one that has a mental health issue. But chances are that's not even true. But because mental health conditions affect 1 in 5 Americans every year. But people need to know that they're not alone, that there's help out there, that there's other people dealing with it. One of the best things I think that we have at Community Mental Health is we have positions called peer support specialists.
Oh, okay.
And peer support specialists are people who have received mental health services. They have mental health diagnoses, might be, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, whatever. They're living their life in recovery now, though, and their job is to help engage people into the treatment process by sharing their story. Because if you think you're alone and you feel hopeless, whatever, a person who shares, say, no, I went through something very similar. This is my story. This is what I've done, and this is my life now. So it is helping people to know that they're not alone in their recovery journey.
Yep. I thought one of the statistics in here that mental health professionals have talked about is that African Americans and Latinos are more afraid to come and talk about. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, I'm sure you are reading it right. And I also know that the Asian Americans, men, typically men more. But anyways, it's because of the cultural, I don't know that they're afraid, it's cultural fear? Values and the stigma that is associated with having mental health issues. And I don't know if you happen to see Facebook yesterday, our Facebook, we have these new shirts that says "Everybody versus Stigma."
Oh, good.
They were created by the Dominique Fisher Foundation, which is Dominique Fisher is the son of Kevin Fisher, who is the state NAMI director. NAMI is the National Alliance for the Mentally Ill. And Dominique Fisher took his life when he was in his early 20s. He was super successful, went to Detroit Catholic, great athlete, all those kinds of things, but in his early 20s got diagnosed with schizophrenia. And struggled and ended up taking his life. So Kevin became a huge advocate, but he also went through his own issues. And I didn't say that they are African American. So he had his own issues too. And so as a result of that, he like switched gears 180 or probably 360 and got active in mental health. And he's a huge advocate. So not just for, not just cultural, but he's a mental health advocate for suicide prevention, for getting treatment, all those kinds of things. So stigma continues to be the #1 reason people don't seek treatment. I probably say that every time I'm here.
Right.
And we continue to do what we can. So he's hoping by these shirts that maybe if I was wearing, you'd ask me, what's that about? And then I talk about it to you.
Right.
And I say, because we hope that there will be a day when people can talk about a mental health condition just like they talk about having cancer or heart disease or diabetes or any of those other things, because like we've said many times, you don't choose any of those things.
No.
None of those things are choices for you. It's your genetic makeup, it's your body, it's whatever, and so things happen, and so you should be treated the same. If I told you I had schizophrenia, you should support me the same as if I told you I have cancer.
Right.
So that's what we're hoping to achieve by the shirts, by all the things we talk about, the different initiatives. And Minority Mental Health Month is just it's one more time that we want to focus on, like we always have mental health, but it is even sometimes more difficult because of the cultural differences. And I talked about that, I think last time when I talked about the men's series.
Well, we're going to talk about that right now.
All right, let's go there.
Man-to-Man Health Series.
Okay.
What's that? We got a slide for that Jared's going to throw up. Talk to me about Brian. There he is, right there.
So Brian Cheney has a place in Detroit. It's called the Chain Reaction Counseling Services, and so he's going to be the speaker. And he's also been a coach and coached athletes and things like that. And so he has also seen firsthand the impact of mental health conditions on athletes and minority population, on anybody. So he's going to be the speaker. So that's going to be a great night. But what I wanted to back up and just talk about quickly was that that series started because initially we talked about needing to get in better with African American men in our community, like trying to get a connection. And Kevin Toddy was helping me. We were talking that through, and then I think I mentioned this last time too, that we decided that there are cultural differences for sure for men, but so African American, Asian American, I'm going to sneeze. I'm going to sneeze, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm not.
Are you going to sneeze? We can cut it. Well, you go ahead and sneeze. No, I don't think I got a napkin here.
Okay, so anyways, so we were talking about that, but then we decided that the stigma exists for all men, all people really, but sometimes it's even harder for men because men are perceived as stronger and they can take it and that kind of stuff, and it's not true. I mean, strength and all those things don't have anything to do with how you deal with a mental health issue.
That's
other than the strength, the courage to get treatment and follow through with your treatment and things like that. But so anyway, so the men's series, we have our second session. So the first session was held in June. Kevin Fisher, who I was talking about earlier, was the keynote speaker. Brian Cheney will be next. I believe Michael McCartan will be one of the speakers.
Oh.
So even though it is open to all men, and there has been an emphasis on minority men, but it is open for all men, and any man would benefit from it. So so we're hoping.
And it's free, I believe.
It is completely free.
And it's Thursday, July 15th, 6:30 to 8. Do I have to register?
You don't have to, but it would be nice if you would register. So we kind of know how many people we're expecting in terms of if there's any.
How many chairs to put out?
Well, it's at the municipal auditorium in the city building in Port Huron, so that's set up sort of like an auditorium, and you can fit a lot of people, and the capacity has increased. It was 50 at the time we did the first one, but I think it's a little bit higher now because COVID restrictions are lessening.
Right.
You can fit like 250 people in there, so so it's encouraged. And actually, if anybody wants any of those, Everybody versus Stigma, they're very cool. Lots of our employees have them. My husband has one. I have one. But anyways, those would be available there, and we're going to give some away too as prizes.
You've got a bunch of national recognition days in July. I just think that are wonderful. National Cheer Up Lonely Day.
Oh yeah, that was
National Simplicity Day, National Hire a Veteran Day, and National Disability Independence Day. All those are in July.
I know. I don't even have that paper anymore, so I'm just going to believe you. I'm going to believe you. But anyways, yeah, I think they're all great days. And National Cheer Up the Lonely, it's July 11th. And we talked about that, like if you have, a neighbor that lives alone or, anything, do something fun. You don't have to, do something huge, but just something. Say hello, go visit, go to lunch, invite them out, whatever. And it's important too because loneliness can lead to depression and things like that. If a person totally isolates, that can cause issues. And so, it's a nice day. And Simplicity Day is great too because
keep it simple.
Keep it simple. And I think, I think I talked about this with you before, but like during COVID. I think one of the pros of COVID, that the stay-at-home order, was getting back to kind of just simpleness and
yes.
like not worrying about going out. And
right.
I mean, it wasn't fun to not get to see all your family and friends, but it was nice to slow the pace of life down.
Right.
And so I think that I hope that people, at least I did learn from that you got to take some of those breaks and you got to slow it down and you can't do everything.
No.
But anyways, and the other National Hire a Veteran Day, that's a great one. And we've talked before, we have a great Veterans Navigator program. We also have a program called IPS, which is a program to help people find employment. So if we have veterans out there that are needing any kind of assistance, whether it's even getting maybe entitlements that you're owed, like your pay, your insurance, I mean anything, our navigator can help navigate that whole Veterans Administration system. If you need mental health services, she can help connect with that. There's a new veterans walking group that started, and you don't have to be open to CMH services. It's just to get vets together. That's happening weekly. Wendy Martindale is our veterans navigator, and you can just call CMH and ask for her, and she can get more information. But also same for the if they want to help seeking employment, she can help hook them up with that program, and we can help that. And I think I know that you would agree with me that veterans are pretty highly trained people.
Yes.
Many of them. There's a lot of different skills that they have to learn to be in the military, and usually pretty structured and follow the rules and all those good things that you want in an employee.
That's right.
So yeah. And then Disability Independence Day is July 26th. That was the day that they passed the Americans with Disability Act, the signing of it, and so that I can't talk, you know what I'm saying? Commemorates that day. So yeah.
All righty. Now we got a couple things coming up. St. Clair County Resource Fair, July 14th. And is that going to be, it's going to be at the college. Talk to me about that. It's always been a success.
Yeah, it's been a huge success, and it's going to be a little different this year. It didn't happen last year at all because of COVID. This year it is July 14th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's at St. Clair County Community College. It's a drive-through mobile pantry. People will get personal care items, and they'll get resource bags. In the past, they used to have, like, all the vendors would actually be there, like Community Mental Health had a table, People's Clinic had a table, Health Department had a table. Right. Well, everybody's not going to have their tables because it's a drive-through, but we put all of our information in these bags that we're going to give out to people, along with there's a food truck will be there, so there's food to be given out. And we have hygiene bags too for everybody, like with shampoos and toothpaste, toothbrushes, all that kind of good stuff, razors, things like that. And then also, if you didn't get a COVID shot, you can drive through and get a COVID vaccine at that time while supplies last. I'm pretty sure they won't run out of those because we're still trying to push and get people to get their vaccines. So that's in the parking lot at SC4, which is you enter at Stone and Glenwood. And I actually heard a nice interview with Amy Smith and oh gosh, I forgot her name. The other one that's working with her, she doesn't work for me, but she's a co-chair of it. And they were talking on with Live United show with Brent Gillette. But the question was, are there any requirements? Who can go to this? The answer is it is open to anybody in St. Clair County. It is targeted more at people at the lower income levels, but nobody's checking your last year's W-2 or your tax returns or anything like that. So it's open to anybody. So yeah.
Coming up next is Run for Recovery, and we've got a slide on that there. There's a run. This is the run from St. Clair a year or so ago of the 5K.
Am I in there?
Are you in? You might be.
I actually was in that run, but I would never have been in the very front because, or is that the finish line? No.
Well, no.
Oh,
it's
no,
the-
that's the start of the race
Yeah.
because then you come back. But no, because the fast runners go first. So I would not be in the front.
That's the Artful Dodgers taking off this year or the year before. I don't remember which it was. All right, but we're going to go up to the next one, which is your run, the 5K run.
Well, let's stop before that.
Okay.
Let's say
All right.
the Artful Dodger was the kickoff to the Blue Water Race Series.
All right.
And
Now,
so there's 5 more runs to go. If you
there
want,
we go. There we go.
If you want to get the beautiful commemorative jacket, which is no additional charge, you just have to participate in all 6 runs. All 6 runs will allow you to do a virtual option. You just have to sign up for the runs in advance of the run. So the next one is actually July 4th weekend, Saturday, Pick Roll Festival. It's the Pick Roll Run. And then P.S. You're My Hero is September 19th. Our run, which I want to talk a little more about, is October 9th. And then the Friendsgiving, which is the Tyler Krutner Memorial Run, which is in Marine City. And then the Jingle Bell Run, which YMCA puts on in December. So it's going to be fun, and hopefully we switched our run this year because we wanted it to be in person, and it would not have been if it was May 9th, which is normally when it would have been. So ours is going to be October, or not May 9th, but in May, the second Saturday in May, whatever that date was. I think it was the 12th. But anyways, so ours, we moved it to October 9th, which actually ends Mental Illness Awareness Week. We try to tie it to something related to our organization, and it's called our Run for Recovery. And we are hoping for lots of participation in our run this year.
You run in most of these, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I didn't run in person at the Artful Dodger this year because I had a golf. And so I wasn't in person, but I signed up. I did virtual, and I actually have to do virtual for the Pick Roll because I'll be up north. It's kind of hard to have one on a holiday. So, but that's the message. Let people know, even if you can't make it, you can do it virtually.
All right, let's go to the next one then. I think it's Deb's. No, one more. There we go.
That's
this is
our
yours
run.
that you're talking about. So it's a 1 mile time for kids, and a 5K, all in one short period of time on October the 9th, and people got plenty of time to set up for that, so register for that.
And we've got great shirts. They're going to be long sleeve tech shirts. And Mike McCartan and I were just talking about that. A lot of times you sign up for a run because of the shirt. You like the shirt. And so I think people will really like them. They're going to be really cool. They're going to be kind of fall colors, and I'm not going to say any more about it, but they look great. so hopefully.
And if you register twice, you can get 2 of them.
And you can come walk, Paul.
Okay, all right.
Bring Mary Ellen.
Right.
Anybody else?
All right.
All right.
We'll do that.
All right.
Run for Recovery. Then we're gonna whet our appetite about the 18th annual Empty Bowls.
Well, that is it's going to be in September, and I can't remember the date. Do you know?
They did wonderful in the Big Give.
They did. They did the best, I think, in the Big Give. So they did have the groundbreaking too for the new building.
Oh, wonderful.
And so hopefully, I haven't driven by to see if construction has actually started yet, but they have raised the necessary funds, but then you need to sustain everything.
Yeah.
So the Empty Bowl is in September, and September 23rd. It's going to be at the
Colonial Woods.
Yep, Colonial Woods.
That's the first time for that.
Yeah, it was supposed to be there when COVID hit. We actually mapped out the place. We had it figured out, and it's much larger than where we used to have it.
Yeah.
So more people can come. We'll still have a drive-through option if people want to just pick up soup. People can do that. We always had that actually to go if you wanted to
We'll
get
have
it.
Alice in here and her crew before then.
And
then the walk a mile in my shoes, 16th annual. I'm not familiar with that one.
Well, that happens every year in Lansing, and this year it's Wednesday, September 29th. And it didn't happen last year, but it normally happens every year. And what they do is they ask every county to send a representative who receives services, who is willing to make a statement about what it's like to walk in their shoes. So it's pretty cool. And they carry like the county flag, and then they go up on the Capitol steps, and then they make a statement about, one person one year said, I have a mental illness. But I happen to have a bachelor's degree in whatever, and when I went on a job interview, people were talking loud to me and clear and slow, as if something I didn't understand what they were saying. Walk a mile in my shoes, because they had a mental health issue, and that doesn't mean you might be super smart. There's all kinds of things. So it's the stereotype or people, the stigma or the whatever, there's discrimination.
Right.
And so anyways, but people share lots of different stories. Like, you know, I live in rural Michigan, and we do not have any public transportation.
Yeah.
I can't drive a car because I have the cerebral palsy and walk a mile in my shoes. And it's a really powerful event. And usually legislators come out, and like when I specifically remember when Phil Pavlo was in office, and one of our people said, I want to talk to Senator Pavlo, and I said, well, I'm going to send him a message.
Right.
And Phil Senator Pavlo at the time came down and had a talk with her, and she was great, and she had this whole list for him. And
oh, great. Okay.
it was great. And but lots of other legislators come down too. I don't know them all. I know names, but
right.
you know what I'm saying. So yeah, it's a cool event. So that's going to happen. And again, it's to raise awareness about the public mental health system, all that kind of stuff. And then, are you going to ask me about the Walk to Remember?
Walk to Remember.
Okay. Well, that is October 11th?
October 10th.
October 10th.
Sunday, October 10th in East China Park. Story begins
I
at
should know
11
that
a.m.
because it's the day after our run, which is October 9th.
Right.
And we normally want to double
That's
up
why
the
you
weekend.
walk on Sunday. You run on Saturday, you run and walk on Sunday.
Right, and if you want, you can walk both days, you know. But anyways, so yeah, so that's happening, and there'll be more to come on that. But those are dates if people want to save them. But that is a very powerful event as well. It is. Typically, we get a lot of groups of people who are we call them survivors of suicide, because somebody they love took their life and died by suicide. So, so that's why it's a walk to remember those people, and then hopefully to prevent more suicide in the future, because we give out a lot of resources. So there's lots of tables of resource information. There's a talk, and there's like. I think it's kind of healing things that happen while they're there, but there's a lot of groups of people that go to it, and it's sad too. I mean, obviously, because a group of kids will come with their high school friend picture on their shirt, and the whole family and everybody else. But hopefully it raises the awareness so that people will seek the help when they need it, and that won't happen. So that's our goal.
It's a good one to remember, and it's entitled that too, Walk to Remember, and that comes in October. Deb, you always are full of some great information for people to. I'm glad you come in and you share it with us. It helps lots of people, probably more than you and I will know.
Well, I am happy to be here, and I'm happy to be here without a mask.
Happy 4th of July.
Thanks, you too, Paul.
That's about it for this edition of the Focus program. Thanks very much for tuning in. Till next time, I'm Paul Dingeman. See you soon.
Thanks for watching Focus with Paul Dingeman. Focus is produced at the CTV Community Television Studios in St. Clair. For over 20 years, CTV has captured the moments that matter to our community.